joining me on this episode of the BAT show. That's BC Akpaida is my name, and I'm your host and presenter. Nigeria is often perceived as a country with high crime rates, making it the 17th among the least peaceful countries in the world. Crimes such as terrorism, corruption, domestic and sexual abuse, human trafficking, armed robbery, kidnapping, and so on continues to flourish in our dear country, Nigeria. Other forms of organized crimes are also on rampage in the country. Recently, some Nigerian youths, which form over 60% of the country's population, are engaged in various forms of criminal and illegal online and offline activities for the purpose of survival. The rate of crime in Nigeria and ways to nip this societal cankerworm in the bud will form our discussion today. And joining me to unravel these issues is a popular criminal journalist and crime reporter, the very unassuming Festus Alenkhe. He is a professional journalist and the current chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ Edo State Chapter. He has been a crime fighter and one who stands against oppression. Festus Alenkhe has over 2 decades focused on crime reportage, both nationally and internationally, through the popular TV programs Crime Watch and Crime Alert. He has vast knowledge and understanding on matters of this sort, hence his appearance on today's show. I will be right back after the break. All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to the BAT show. That's the BC Akpaida talk show. And I have here with me our guest, Festus Alenkhe. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
All right, well, you're one phenomenon I think a lot of people like to tease, and I'm sure I'm going to ask you that question. A lot of people tease you about, especially as it affects your reportage during your crime program. But before we get there, let's get to know the person, Festus. What was your youthful days like? How did you grow up? Family of how many? Let's just get a little background about you and get to know you more.
Well, I was born in Benin. I really grew up in Benin all my life in Benin City, Edo State.
Okay.
I was born at Isiemero. Isiemero is a quarter in Benin, around Sapamba Road. And I had my early life, everything in Benin. I attended RZ Primary School in Benin, Nigeria College in Benin, and eventually College of Education also in Benin. And University of Benin, so everything Benin, and I work in Benin. So everything about me has always been in Benin. And guess what? I've never spent 2 years outside Benin since I was born.
Why is that? Is it just
everything has always been Benin? Yeah, the only time I spent was when I was in London in 2019. I spent a year, and after that, it has always been Benin. So nice to have my early life in Benin, and everything in Benin has been very peaceful for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, one would think that maybe because you had some kind of rough, youthful background, maybe something associated with crime or too much criminality, that's why you decided to take, a part in crime reportage.
Well, to be precise, I need to let you know that while I was here, I grew up in a quarter where you have what we call bad guys.
Okay.
And some of those who were ahead of us when I was growing up, most of them used to engage in one crime or the other thing. And so some of us then we used to look at it, why is this uncle doing this? And we'll just be wondering. So we just thank God that God didn't take us through that part. Because I also had my life in the Catholic world.
Okay.
And at the point I participated in everything Catholic. And that life too helped some of us a lot. Because coming up, we found ourselves in church. And then we started learning. And that took us off some of those bad things, we do while growing up. So I had a very rough early life. Because, like like me, I came in from a middle-aged family, not a very rich family, but not also very poor family. So, but it was at a point very tough, especially when I got to class 4 and I needed to enroll for my class 5 then. I couldn't enroll, because of funds. And I reverted back to washing cars along Sapma Road by Ted Junction. So I joined some other guys there, we were washing cars there, and then I was able to save money from there to enroll for my work, and then that was how I was able to move. If not, I would have stopped at class 4 then, and then it would have been very difficult because, when you grow up, you now find it difficult to go back to secondary school life, because if you miss it at your age, if you miss it with your colleagues where you were supposed to write WAEC and you don't write, then your juniors 2-3 years thereafter will not join up, and then they will not ask you to come and write. You find it difficult to go and write because you are now going to be sitting with your juniors to write WAEC. So before you know it, some will just lose it, and then they get into the society without normal basic education. So I only lost 1 year. So I used the 1 year to raise money for work. But guess what? I now find it difficult to return back to the school where I was, where I passed from 4 to 5. Because when you are in the senior class, then we used to punish the young one, putting them to kneel down and all of that. So they would not come and meet you writing the same exam with you, and that was a bit shameful for us as at that time. So what I did then was to relocate from that school into another school, and that's Utoka Grammar School in Ovia Northeast, around Upper Local Road. And then I enrolled there. I had my O level, and that was what I used into the College of Education in Canada. And moments after that too, I advanced further for my Bachelor of Arts in International Studies and Diplomacy, University of Benin. So my early life was a bit rough, but at this point I think it's getting better.
Well, of course, definitely. Okay, now, what would you say was the role of family in helping to shape on your value system?
Yeah, that's another point, because what we see then is quite different from what we see today. Then you see parents joining teachers to punish their children. Then you see parents to deal with their children at home. And then sometimes they will even carry the child to the school to report some of the atrocities of the child to the school authority and begging them to help to punish the children. But these days, you don't have that anymore. When a school punishes a child today, you see some parents going to the school to go and raise alarm. Why will you punish my child? Do you have the right to do that? But it was never like that in the past. Then I know that we used to be flogged. But these days, if you go to any house now, you tell them, come and bring the cane that you used to flog. You can't even find any. But then if you move like 10 houses, you see at least 9 houses that have cane for their children. Yes. But now you don't find that anymore. So what you just find out is children just misbehaving, doing out of 100 houses today, it will take the grace of God for you to find some that you don't have some nonchalant children. You don't have children that are engaged in one ill activity or the other. So it's quite unfortunate. So some of us growing up, we were punished. One, they will tell you, you're not eating this house today because you didn't wash the plate or you didn't do some domestic activities. Then two, they can even lie you down and flog you 24. Then some uncles used to come to the house. They will report us to the uncle. The uncle will beat you. But you don't find out, you don't get this now. Then sometimes too, the best thing that will make you cry, your mom will go and hide it. Maybe on a Sunday you are supposed to dress gorgeously, and then they'll say today you will not dress. And then that alone will make you sit up for other activities. So to us, our early life, we had so much discipline because our parents disciplined us. I'm from a family of 4, and I have an elder sister. I'm next to her, and then a boy is next to me, and then the last is again. So we were adequately punished because today we say thanks to our parents for holding brief for us strongly at that elementary stage. So to us, we give thanks and kudos to them.
Okay, well, what we find right now, the moral decadence in society, what can be attributed to this?
Yes, 2 ways. one, parental background, and two, what we find in some schools these days. I'm sure you know that there's a particular school now that has been closed down by those state governments. The principal retired, the permanent secretary retired. No, so many things happened because they were unable to handle the children properly. And you also see what happened in one of the schools in Benin with boarding facility. And it was on the internet. The principal was also retired. So many things happen. So when there is failure at the school level, you see some of these children engage themselves in so many illicit activities. Then parental background as well. When there's a faulty parental background, of course the children there will be faulty. Now when the parents show I don't care attitude, then that I don't care attitude lifestyle will be on the children. When you are supposed to tell the children to go right, you did not. And then you see the children are going left. And you know that the left they are going to is the wrong side. Yeah. You allow them. Of course, you know that you are building very bad children at that level. And that they grow up, become something else. So we have the opinion strongly that parents should watch out for that. Okay, today, parents who are listening or watching us now, how many of you sometimes go to check the school bags of your children? You are aware that some children today, they go to buy polo CD, they put it in their school bags. Some carry knife, some carry toy guns and all other things. They put in their school bag because the parents do not take time to check. But when you ask very strict parents, when you are not there, maybe the child is not in the room, you get into the room, bring out the school bag, search it, check some of the notes and see there are some information that might sound very funny, but most parents don't do this. So we will advise parents to try as much as possible to bring up their children in the fear of God. Some don't even go to church. I know that some parents sometimes will go to church and leave their children to stay at home. Say, no, Junior, stay at home and take care of the house. If anybody comes, tell them I'm going to church. Why would you not go to the church with your children? And then religious background. When there's a faulty religious background, of course the children will also pick. So the society as well. If the society do not create an avenue for you to have standard and qualitative children, you are bound to have faulty children in the process. So everybody must be involved in ensuring that the children these days okay, are you even aware that some parents now, they will tell you, look, Junior, did you not see Uncle B? Did you not see your mates? That one is driving JLK. You are still here moving all about. Exactly. What are you trying to sell into that child? You are encouraging that child to go all out, to do what other guy did, to get money. And you don't even know how that guy got the money. Some parents these days will be accusing the younger girls to say, this one is married, the other girl is married. You are seeing this house, eating my food, you must leave my house today. By the time you do that, you are pushing them into any man that comes. And you and I know that it's not all men that are men. So maybe that's a story for another day.
Well, of course. Okay, well, we're also aware that at least you're also into beyond the your personality as a crime reporter. You're also a Red Crosser, like they would say, and you were once the chairman of that particular association. Now, how did you get involved in this activity?
Thank you. You see, when we also growing up, that's what I was saying, that elementary background matters a lot in life. When we were growing up, we used to have Boy Scouts, we used to have Red Cross. We still have them though. You have Red Cross, Boy Scouts, Man of War, Boys Brigade, and all of that. So they used to come to the school to say, which one do you want to join? Okay. So in my primary school days, I joined the Red Cross. As a Red Cross member, we used to go to the stadium then to march, and then they actually taught us what we call morals. Right there, they would teach you, do not steal, do not lie, concentrate on your education. They tell us so many things. So we grew up with that lifestyle as at that time. So when I joined the Red Cross in the primary school, I moved on again to the secondary school and I became commandant. Commandant means you are the leader of the Red Cross in your school. So in my school in Niger College, I was commandant. So when I left the school, in the Red Cross too, as you are leaving school, they call it catch them young. As you are leaving school, your Red Cross activities must not end when you leave secondary school. So there's what we call voluntary aid detachment or open detachment of the Red Cross. So when you leave school, all those who are left secondary school will now belong to that Red Cross detachment. We call it voluntary aid detachment. So you now still continue to practice your Red Cross.
Okay, but right now it seems some of these associations have become elitist kind of.
No, you still have them.
Do we still have them in our government schools?
Yes, we have them.
I'm not talking about private schools now. The government schools, it seems we really cannot find some of these associations.
Yeah, there was a time they too turned to be something else. Not all. Some of these associations, one time, some members were now enlisted into a secret cult group or the other, and then there was a fight in some of the schools, and that led to closure of some of these schools in Benin. So I remember that government gave directive that they don't want some of these associations anymore. But we did that, we worked it out with those states, like Red Cross, for instance. When we met the governor 2 years ago, we raised it, and that was resolved. You still find Red Cross right now in most of the schools in Benin. But there are some, government say no, we are still watching. But for Red Cross, you go to some of the schools today, you find Red Crossers. You find them at that early elementary level still participating in Red Cross activities, because you must catch the children young.
Exactly, because these associations actually had their positives.
Yes.
And they had a lot of positive values they were impacting in.
So as I was telling you, I grew up from there into the College of Education. I was detachment commandant, and from that level two, I rose into state level of the Red Cross. I was PRO, that's Special Information Officer of the Red Cross, and thereafter I was also Youth Advisor of the Red Cross. And then I moved in from there. I was Vice Chairman, and then became Edo State Chairman of the Red Cross. Did you know that? I also later became Chairman of the South-South Zone of the Red Cross. So I've also grown to the rank. The highest level of Red Cross, I've been there. And even in the training, the highest certificate you can talk of in the Red Cross today is what we call Trainer's Certificate. At the point it was Instructor Certificate. I had a grade 2 in Instructor Certificate of the Red Cross. And then when they now metamorphosed into a training certificate, I got the highest training certificate in the Red Cross, and it's called Trainer's Certificate. So wherever I am, whether I'm this place today or the other, wherever I am, I'm still a member of the Red Cross.
So what can you say has actually been your push, your driving force? You know, it seems everywhere you find yourself, you want to make the best out of it.
Because I read books, I watch television, and I look up to people. And do you know that a young person must mentor an adult? If you are a young guy coming up, you must have an adult ahead of you that you mentor. I repeat publicly, one of my mentors today in this world is Barack Obama. I see him and I read his books. I knew how he grew from Kenya, the father, the dad, to America, and he became the first black American president ever lived. And some of us try to emulate him so that one day we'll be somewhere. So when you look at people who have grown to a very highest level and you follow their footsteps, of course you'll be there. So have you ever seen, there are people too, they watch movie, they watch some of this American Deadly movie, they watch how to couple guns, they watch how to rob, they watch how to enter banks. That's for them. That's the negative mentorship we are talking about. But some of us will look at positive persons who have attained very high level. We look at some of those who have succeeded in life. We mentor them. But in Nigeria, I have one mentor too. I look up to. He was former general manager of Edo Broadcasting Service. Growing up, I watched him. Growing up, I looked at him. I saw how he was able to deal with people administratively and otherwise. And that was Tunde Ebozoji Esquire, a PhD holder. Today, he's a great man. He was also a senior lecturer in Benson, Dalsma University. And thereafter, he's in the US now studying. And I know that he will come back to Nigeria very soon. So these are people you look up to. And I also got to read him. I followed up and I knew his elementary life and how he grew up. He grew right in the Edo Broadcasting Service, academically and otherwise. He grew there, and today he's even looking at being a professor in the nearest future. So these are things one should look up to.
Okay, so now you're in the journalism profession. How did you get here? Because I know you said you studied international relations.
Yes, actually, when I left the College of Education, I used to listen to radio. I used to watch people sit to cast the news and all of that. There's a man called Harrison Asemota. Harrison Asemota, though he has retired now from Edo Broadcasting Service, he used to handle what we call correspondent reports. He brings reports from different correspondents and present them on radio. He also reports for television. So immediately I left the College of Education, I met him. I said, sir, because I read English and linguistics in College of Education. And then I was also very fluent in terms of both in talking, in writing, I have the writing skills. So I met him to say, sir, I want to work with you. He said, are you sure you can do this? I said, let me just try. And then he tried me 1 day, 2 days, said, I know you are very good. The 1 week after, I started reporting as freelancer. And then he engaged me. Then for 1 year, no money came. I was just there, but the glamour that Festus Alenkhe is now reporting for, that was just the salary.
Joy. Yeah.
As at that time. So whether you are being paid or not, but when you leave the studio, people see us, I heard your voice, and that's very nice. You are doing well. That is the salary as at that time. But a year thereafter, they started paying us 500 naira a month, and that was quite great. It was like a big relief to have 500 naira, and we're talking about
we're talking about
1996.
Okay.
Do you understand? So we started with that at a point. Then by 1998, I got into television. The first time I reported for television was 1997, July 1st. That was the first time I had my reports on TV. And that was great. You know, then coming on to report, you hold the microphone, Festus Alenkhe, EBS TV. You know, I was so excited. Even there's still no salary, just little. But by the time we had democracy, and in 2003, let me just say automatic employment from the then governor, Lucky Osaka Ibinede of Edo State. How did it all happen? I became chairman of the Youth Council 2001, and then started talking. I had access to government, I had access to a lot of people in government. And then I reminded them, even if I'm chairman of the Youth Council today, as we speak now, I'm a freelancer with Edo Broadcasting Service. Can you please get it confirmed? Yes, and few weeks or months thereafter, got a letter to say you are now a full staff of Edo. So on the 2nd of January 2003 was when I got my letter. So in terms of service, I'm 19 years now. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So 2nd of January, they gave me the letter, employment, and started from there, and that's where I am. I was employed with level 7, but today I'm on 13. Very close to 14. And more years are still counting. So it's just for you to follow, you move from one step to the other. Because if you cross another step and get it, you are likely to fall. Because everything is like ladder. You move from one step to second step, third step, fourth step, like that. So you must be patient. Like they used to tell us then in the job, they'll say, wait for your turn. Don't rush. Your turn will come. So some of us are still waiting. Why are we rushing? Wherever I am now, whatever position you find yourself, do your best there. And wait for your turn to get to the next step. If you don't wait for your turn, you want to rush, then you don't do you fuck back.
All right, we'll be speaking with Festus Alenkhe, the current chairman, Nigerian of Journalists, Edo State Council. Thank you so much for coming. We'll be right back after the break.